before we bring on the feature, a few things. First of all, please remain seated during the performance, because if you get up, you might realize just how dizzy you really are from listening to him speak. The inordinate amount of really sickening truths that he puts into the various stories that Bert performed. Did that sentence just make any sense?
Yeah.
I'm inventing as I go along here, so okay, good. Just making sure, you know, because even speech is stream of consciousness, isn't it? You don't have it written down. Also, next week we have Megan Williams featuring here. She'll probably show up in about an hour or so. She's usually, you know, one of the evening shifts. And the week after that, you'll notice the poster of the Mona Lisa that has replaced Mussolini. Bossi will be here on the 16th. And aside from that, I have no idea. You know, I mean, anyone could show up, and then we'll just like put them on. So, please give a warm round of applause for Pete Dolack versus Benito Mussolini!
Let's get ready to rumble.
I have no intention of losing.
Again, you didn't show up.
Still at City Hall. Or maybe in Zimbabwe.
That's right. We're going to address that very subject later this evening.
But first this. Sirius twinkles in the southern sky as an icy wind howls down the avenue. At least a trip to Brooklyn shouldn't be too long because the train rumbles into the station as I walk in. Shouldn't be long now as the doors, it's right in front of me. Shouldn't be long now as the tone sounds and the doors close. But the uptown local pulls into Times Square and sits there. And sits there, and sits there. Your attention, please. Due to a water main break, this train is out of service. Through the groans, I walk through the corridor. I can still take the R to make my connection, even if it makes the trip longer. But the R only goes a couple of stops. And sits there. Then sits there, and sits there. Your attention, please. Due to a sick passenger on the next train, our service is suspended. This train will run on the Ed line to Astoria instead. Nothing I can do but get off and take the R back to Times Square. Maybe the IRT is running. A number 2 southbound pulls in. The doors open, then close. But the train starts heading in the opposite direction. Your attention, please. Due to a movie shoot, there is no southbound service on this train. Next stop is 72nd Street. My goal getting further away, I'm ready to throw in a towel. I'll get off at 72nd Street and take a cab home. When the train pulls into the express stop, I'm relieved. My subway nightmare is finally over. But the doors don't open. The train just sits there. Then sits there, then sits there. Your attention, please. Due to police activity, this train will not let passengers on or off in this station. And off we go, further north and further from Brooklyn. Checking my wallet, I see if I have enough money for cab fare. When we get to Harlem, the train slows down, but doesn't stop. Your attention, please. Due to signal trouble ahead, uptown service is suspended. This train will be diverted to the Metro North line. I had never heard of a subway train using someone else's tracks, but there's a first for everything, I thought. I was hoping we'd at least head south. It wouldn't be too hard getting home from Grand Central Station, but I soon recognized the Harlem River coursing by down below, and well, we were still headed north. So all the way up to Riverdale we went, and I got off hoping to catch something, anything, southbound. I asked the station master when the next train back would come in, and he said I was too late. Only northbound train stopped here, and I had to go to Yonkers to get a southbound train. After a long wait fending off the cold and watching Sirius slowly sink in the southwest sky, the last northbound train pulled in. Never so happy to be in Yonkers, I got out and hoped it wouldn't be a long wait for the southbound train. Finally, the headlights shone their glare on the tracks, but my elation was short-lived when I saw a red 2 in the front window. Somehow, the diverted IRT train was coming back. But with little choice, I walked in and the doors closed. But the train just sat in the station. And sat there and sat there. Your attention, please. The motorman is lost. This train is going back to Poughkeepsie so I can get a map. Maybe Poughkeepsie has an airport, I think, and I could charter a flight back home. But we were barely out of Yonkers when the train slowed to a crawl. The ride became rough, as if we were switching tracks. Your attention, please. I let the message announcing the latest diversion sink in as I watched the countryside flow by and Venus rise in the east. But with dawn not far away, I thought, this isn't all bad. I never have been to San Francisco before. Time for something else. Your tax dollars at work. Nobody understands how tough this job is. I had to work hard to set up that last coup. I just don't understand what gets into those dictators sometimes. First, I siphon off a couple $100 million for the best arms on the black market. I mean, good fucking stuff. Primo attack helicopters, cruise missiles, those Stinger surface-to-air shoulder launchers. I even got 50 crates of cluster bombs. I love those babies. Drop a bunch of them on some backwater hamlet, they just keep exploding all over the place. Those stupid civilians think the damage is done, then bam! Another cluster pops out and rips them in half. Some local yokel from the next village comes by and sees all these dead people around, especially the children lying around. That makes a great impression. So the local yokels see this and run their asses back to their village. They ain't going to be saying jack shit about their government after seeing that. I would buy a drink for who invented cluster bombs. Keeps those damn people in their huts and out of our hair. Anyway, this is why I can't figure this out. We give all this high-tech stuff to General Monroe. I mean, he sure seemed like the real deal to me. Blinken recruiting spotted Monroe when he was a lieutenant. There's nothing to spit in the wind at. Blake's the guy who discovered Pinochet. The guy's knows talent, know what I mean? Anyway, we sent Monroe to the School of the Americas. The guy's a freaking genius. Low-intensity terrorism, psychological operations, you name it. The guy's at the top of his class. We even skipped him past Torture Techniques 101, put him right in advanced torture and confession extraction. By the time we sent him back home, people all over the CIA were making bets on when Monroe would take over his country. But back then, Monroe was a guy who appreciated what we did for him. He knew we wanted him to wait a while before he put a coup together, even though I was getting pressure from Washington at the time. Chevron and Exxon, they were really pissed. The government that was over there at the time wasn't very cooperative. The local yokels working the oil fields were making about 60 cents a day and working 7 days a week. So these trade union types started making trouble. I mean, shoot the fucking bastards, what's the big deal? But not only did they not hang the fucking troublemakers, the freaking government sides with them. The Interior Minister tells Chevron and Exxon you've got to pay him $1 a day, give him Sunday off, and can you believe this? He tells Chevron and Exxon they've got to put in safety measures. What was this freaking minister thinking about? The damn local yokels don't know what's going on. Why put crazy ideas in their heads? Anyway, the Chevron and Exxon guys go to the White House and piss all over the president. But they fucking not. They got the president pissed. Nobody likes having their bosses yell at them like that. So you know what happens? The president calls the CIA chief and yells at him, and right on down it goes till it gets to me. They wanted that Interior Minister hanging for the nearest lamppost. I kept telling them, Monroe isn't ready to take over yet. He's still consolidating his power base in the army there. Give him the order to mount the coup now, and God knows what will happen. Thank God we didn't have to do anything after all. Exxon had a couple of those trade union guys killed. The local goon squad dumped their bodies right in the main square in the provincial capital. Everybody got the message. So things were pretty quiet when Monroe told us he was ready to stage the coup. It was beautiful. The first person he had arrested was that fucking Interior Minister. Then he rounded up all those union people and anybody else who looked like he was going to cause trouble. Monroe's people extracted what information they could out of him, then slit the throats of the whole fucking lot of them. We fed a report to the papers in the U.S. that the missing people were communists and must have fled the country. Those idiot reporters locked it up like thirsty cats drinking milk. Printed every word we fed them. Didn't question any of it. When General Monroe made that speech telling everyone he had to seize command because subversives were destroying the country, the station chief was so happy I thought he was going to cream in his jeans. Then those Chevron and Exxon guys come to me and say they're going to cut wages to 50 cents a day. We finally have a pro-business government over there, they said to me. The defense contractors loved him too. All I had to say to Monroe was mention how tough it was for arms manufacturers to keep their profit margins up these days. And Monroe jumped right in and said his government desperately needed to upgrade its military. Everybody was happy. The oil advanced profits doubled. The defense contractors got fat new contracts. We ran so many drugs through the airport there we made enough money to buy that extra spy satellite. And General Monroe was a real reasonable guy. He only skimmed $50 million a year for his cut. Most dictators in his shoes would have wanted at least $100 million. I thought he was a guy the CIA could do business with, you know? So things were fine for a while. But then Monroe started acting weird. He started talking about elections and returning the country to civilian rule. Of course, every dictator always says that, at least ours do. But after a while, I got to thinking, is he freaking serious? He legalizes political parties and says he's going to set up a parliament with free elections. I couldn't freaking believe this. I happened to plan to get over there. I take the station chief with me when I go see Monroe. Monroe tells me he's reconsidered. He gets all serious and says to us, democracy is the only way. I'm going to let the people of my country decide their fate. Are you fucking crazy? I said to him. The station chief sitting next to me was so pissed I thought his veins were going to burst out of his neck. And that's not all of it. Monroe starts talking about his country's people getting a raw deal from the U.S. companies that set up operations there. He could deal with his country's people just fine. What the hell did he think he was supposed to do with all that military equipment we sold him? But we couldn't change Monroe's mind, so we're going to have to get rid of him too. The Chevron and Exxon guys went ballistic when they heard what Monroe was talking about. And the pharmaceutical companies that were trying out all their experimental stuff on the local yokels were good and pissed too. All the companies were freaking pissed. Well, okay, the defense contractors were happy because they figured if the Civil War broke out, they could make a fortune selling arms to both sides. But everyone else was pissed. I'm telling you, it was some scene in the Oval Office. It wasn't just the oil companies this time. Muffin LaRoche even had a vice president in there. They ordered the president to do something about Monroe. But here's where taking that money away from school lunches and giving it to us really paid off. Because I used that extra money to buy a couple of informants in the Army over there. Found this lieutenant colonel, a guy named West. He cost me $200,000 the past year. But West is really ambitious. Says he hates the weakness he's seeing in his government now. He's got a good part of the Army loyal to him already. But I didn't want to have another decision backfire on me. I asked him right out, was he pro-business? West looked me dead in the eye and said he appreciated everything U.S. companies had done for his country. And he was as sick of those fucking trade union guys as I was. He said he knew how to take care of people like that. Yeah. West sure sounds like a guy we could do business with.
And just to do something completely different. Now that's typical, I'm known for these very lengthy, very politically aware kind of things. So what's the most ridiculous thing you could imagine me doing? Those unlikely thing I could kind of poetry I could do. Yes. Haiku about nature.
You do that?
Yeah, I have three of them. I have three haiku. So just to do something completely different, here's Herman haiku.
Oh, good, good.
Let there be light. All right. I know the usual custom on haiku is to do it twice, but oh, what the heck? I'll just say it once. They're really not good enough to do twice.
No,
Why
do it
is it-
twice. I'm from the Haiku Society.
We have someone from the Haiku Society. She's causing
Turn on the reverb.
They all do it twice.
All right. Here's Herman haiku, a troika. Two geese break for lunch. A third goose attacks as the vulture flies and waits. Late April on the trail under a barren canopy. Where's spring? A snake suns himself on top of an exposed rock. It's spring for him too. That's Herman haiku. You're back there.
And they said it couldn't be done.
And I said it couldn't be done, yes.
The impossible dream.
This is just a play.
Why, those are all true stories, too. All right, now back to our usual topic. This is called On the Job. I come to work wearing these hard shoes, a shirt buttoned high, festive tie worn just so. How I'd like to take my tie and wrap it around your sanctimonious neck. Smug in your office, you think you're lord of all you serve a petty kingdom bounded by four walls. You rule with fist grasping the reins you hold so close. Your little kingdom so dear to you, because you know it's all you have. Outside the walls, your backstabbing ways when you know friends, you're just another overambitious fraud drunk with power. I watch you kiss the asses of stooges and yes men above you, pretending you're such a team player when you'd walk over your grandmother to get ahead. How I'd love to knock that phony smile off your pathetic quest. You're so predictable. I can always tell when you're lying. Your lips are moving. You think you have everyone fooled. You really believe the staff thinks they're your friend. The only person you fool is yourself. The only mind that will play your games is your feverish little one. Someday you'll get what's coming to you, your sycophantic struck cast from your kingdom, your downfall finally at hand, and then we'll all celebrate. I had a specific boss in mind, and I didn't mail it to her anonymously. I can only hope she got it.
Cool. Sign it.
This woman was mighty deserving. Let me tell you, bucko.
I said cool, not cruel.
I don't even remember. Actually, I don't recall hearing cool or cruel. I don't even remember what you said. All right, I take that back. Strike that from the record. All right, just erase that from the tape. Well, I guess there's no erasing there, huh? All right.
Well, it might be.
Your Honor, Your Honor,
But
I didn't mean it, Your Honor. I didn't mean it.
they have it all.
He was standing in front of me and I ran him over. I didn't know what was happening. I thought he was gonna move. This is why I don't do stream of consciousness stuff. Somebody caught my eye. Come on in. Poetry.
Runs fast.
Hey, it's his loss.
It's the way to get rid
It's
of
his
people
loss.
like that.
Oh, this is going to be the title poem in my forthcoming chapbook. It's like a year overdue. My publisher has had considerable problems, but she just moved. I helped her move 2 weeks ago, and she has vowed she will actually get this produced. It's been like halfway done for about a year now. And I should have it for September, theoretically. So I'll be just like everybody else. I'll be trying to peddle this on everybody. So, it'll be $3, not much. So set aside, you've got a couple of months to set this aside. 50 cents a week, and hey, next thing you know, you've got it. You wouldn't even have missed it.
But it's the price of 1 cup of coffee a day.
That's right. Just for the mere price of 1 coffee a day, that's all it takes.
Let's
That's
have
all
a
it takes.
party.
This is what this man is like. He says he doesn't drink. Can you imagine if he had his usual allotment of coffee and what he would be like right now?
That's not good.
A
If
frightening
you only signed a
sight.
contract with Disney, the book would be out already.
Well, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. All right. So this will be the title poem. And now a word from our sponsors. Space, the final frontier, which you can enjoy in just a few minutes as soon as our McDonald's liftoff is complete. You can remove your seatbelts when the Golden Arches sign is turned off. We hope your trip from Cape Coca-Cola will be enjoyable and safe. Now, if you all look out the right side window, you can see the neon orbiting Budweiser sign. Enjoy it while you can. The sign's orbit is already beginning to decay and will plummet to Earth in a fiery crash. But don't worry, Anheuser-Busch will be launching a new sign, even bigger than this one. It'll be so bright you won't be able to see the stars during the 4 hours it will take to cross the sky. But won't it be worth it to see Budweiser blazing across the night sky? Now, if you look a bit further to your right, that bright red object you see is the Lockheed Martin planet Mars. It sure is fitting a defense contractor is able to put its name on the planet named for the god of war. Fortunately, the planet didn't sustain too much damage when Boeing and Lockheed Martin went to war over the naming rights. In fact, Mars will look better than ever once the terraforming project is finished. Lockheed's Martin name will cover the entire planet from 45 degrees north to 45 degrees south. Then every time you see the planet through your telescope, instead of seeing all those boring reds and greens, you'll see a beautiful, full-color company logo. Now, if you look toward your left, down at the Earth, you should be able to see the Exxon Pacific Ocean. Isn't it wonderful how company engineers were able to arrange their oil rigs to spell out Exxon? They say the Exxon sign is almost 3,000 miles across. To think those silly environmentalists complain, we should all be proud to pay our 10% tax surcharge for it. Now, in a few more minutes, North America will rotate into view. We'll have plenty of time to see the General Motors sign where North Dakota and South Dakota used to be. The sign is at its best at night when the blinking lights are on. They say you can see the sign all the way out to the asteroid belt. Enjoy your sightseeing, passengers, but don't forget to take your seats and buckle up when you see the flashing Pepsi holograph. That will mean it's time for the Pepsi landing. By the way, you want to have your binoculars handy then. The General Mills Space Station will be orbiting into view. The half-mile-long Wheaties box is a sight not to be missed. When we land, we hope you'll enjoy your stay on the Microsoft Moon. The Apollo 11 reenactment is held twice a day. You'll get goosebumps when you hear the holograph of Neil Armstrong say, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for Windows 95. If you need to ask directions after landing, please don't forget. The region where Apollo 11 landing is no longer called the Sea of Tranquility. It's now known as the Sea of Bill Gates. Of course, before you can sightsee, you'll first need to clear customs. Please be sure to be wearing your advertising according to regulations and have your documentation from General Electric ready. No contact with sunlight is permitted without advance payment of royalties to GE, which now owns Sunrise. We hope you'll never forget your stay on the Microsoft Moon. Who could even imagine what it would be like without advertising?
Yay!
Okay, here it is. I was challenged by our host and moderator, Mr. Brian Robinson. Give it up for Brian, you know, he does a fine job. We've gone several minutes without gratuitous applause. But he does a good job, and if anyone deserves gratuitous applause, it's Brian.
And gratuities, too.
And gratuities, too. Yes. Yeah, all right, so I was challenged last week, you know, you should write about Giuliani's bunker. You know, this is all right. So I took that up. This is a work in progress, and it's not finished. It sort of just kind of ends because I was sort of scribbling this on my last day at work here, and so. I guess indeed, I just sort of feel numb. It hasn't quite hit me yet. And there'll be a few days will go by, and I'll be like, hey, I don't have to go back there. And it'll hit me. So this so far is what I've come up with. I imagine the final version of this will be somewhat different. So you'll all hear it for history and hear the first version, which usually doesn't get out. I usually wait till they're done. But here goes. Under in the sky. At ease. Now you know why my bunker is on the 23rd floor. If we were underground, we'd be unconscious right now too. The gas we use is heavier than air, so we'll stay close to the ground, while I command from my bunker in the sky. This city will be swept clean. There will be no more food vendors cluttering the sidewalk. Wait just a moment. What is that I see down on Church Street? A taxi! Who gave that taxi driver a gas mask? Arrest him at once. Nothing moves in this city without my approval, including that dog running down the sidewalk. Interrogate that dog at once. I want to know why that gas hasn't knocked it out. I'd better not see anything else down there. I hadn't given any order to let the city councilman off the Rikers Island. Your fans! Are the fans in place on the Verrazano-Narrows Bridge? I'll have the engineer's head if any gas reaches Staten Island. Staten Island will not be touched as long as I'm mayor. As for the rest of the city, what choice did I have? First the vendors challenged me, then the construction workers. Now they understand who's mayor here. Now you all understand the master plan. With everyone knocked out by the gas, there will be no more quality of life violators. Look below you, look! Do you see any squeegee men down there? I asked a question, do you see any squeegee men down there?
No!
No!
Do you see any jaywalkers down there?
No!
Do you see anybody asking for a Yankee Stadium referendum?
No!
No, indeed. And best of all, with the deportations that are underway, there will be no more term limits. Mayor for life. I do like the sound of that. All of you had better like it too. That airlock door is right over there. Nobody is exempt. You all notice Andrew isn't here. He refused to appear on Letterman with me. Unfortunately, that's as far as I've got. Let me do a couple others, and then I'll cede the stage to the rest of our open mic. I do try to be timely, and the problem with that is once in a while things do kind of get out of date. Like with that Indonesia piece I did a few weeks ago, and another example is a piece on Ireland I did. I wrote this, I don't know, maybe about 2.5 years ago, right when the IRA broke its first ceasefire, when John Major was still Prime Minister of the UK, and basically did everything he could to goad them into dropping their ceasefire and going back into violence, which up until the present administration was standard UK policy there. So I was very angry. And disappointed. Even though I'm not Irish, it's something I've followed over the years. In fact, I was even published on the subject once many years ago. And one of many papers I've written for that are now defunct. So this was the result. I called this Major to Ireland, drop dead. 800 years, surely that's enough. Is it habit or is empire that important? The sun set on the rest of the empire long ago, but not on that island next door. No matter how many opportunities, the worst always seems to be found. Starving of people into submission, famine as a weapon to drive them across the Atlantic. Murdering their leaders on Bloody Sunday. Draw a line around the north, pump plastic bullets into crowds. Why is it that talk is so feared? Maggie pours her bitter brew, out, 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 was never so stale. The gray man can only cover his ears when opportunity knocks loud enough for all else to hear. 17 months of peace, 17 months of hope. Talk, damn it, just talk! But that last bit of empire is too tempting, and one day we hear what we fear. The hard men return, 2 innocents dead, a tower left in shambles. You got what you wanted, Prime Minister Major. I hope you're bloody happy. And I'll wrap up with, this used to be my traditional close on when I was featured, but I haven't done this. I'm not sure if I didn't done this year even, but even though it's different from a lot of rest of my work, it's sort of I guess serves as my signature, even if it's not political at all. So let's see if I can still do it. Take a deep breath. This is no coffee. All I wanted was eggs and orange juice. I don't want any coffee. I don't want coffee with cream and sugar. I don't want coffee with milk. I don't want coffee black. The waitress said to me, "You've got to have coffee. It's the law. I don't care. Just give me a glass of orange juice." But the waitress insisted. She just wouldn't give up. "Have just 1 cup," she said. "It won't hurt you. Everyone should drink coffee." I told her I didn't want coffee. "I never drink coffee. You can't make me drink coffee." But the waitress wouldn't take no for an answer. "Everyone drinks coffee," she said to me. "Here, let me pour you a cup." I wouldn't let her. I grabbed the cup and pulled it away, but she was already pouring the hot liquid cold in my hand. Skin started peeling off as coffee kept flowing. I didn't care. I wasn't going to drink coffee. The waitress shrieked at me, "You've got to drink coffee. You'll get us in trouble with the diner police." The coffee was so hot I was about to burn a hole through my hand. I needed that fast. I grabbed that pot and rolled it to the ground. The coffee started eating through the floor. The other diner goers fell into the basement when the coffee ate through the support beam. The diner owner came running toward me. "See what happens when you don't drink coffee?" He yelled at me. "You must drink coffee." He came at me with another pop-up before he could pour me a cup. I knocked that pot away. The coffee flowed all over the diner, then started eating through everything in sight, right down into the basement. But the coffee didn't stop there. It just kept on going through the ground. There was just a big hole. It was getting deeper and deeper. I shined a flashlight into it, but I couldn't see the bottom. The coffee just kept eating the earth away. Nothing could stop coffee. It just kept eating itself a bigger hole. Soon the hole got so big the earth became lopsided. There's a huge wall on one side. It grew so big the earth was knocked out of balance. It began hurtling into the sun. There's nothing we could do. The coffee just kept chewing up the world until the earth were right to the sun. In fact, that didn't have to happen. We could have saved the earth if they just gave me an orange juice instead. By the way, that will also be in my chat book, so you can actually find out what the words for that are.
The Dolack! The thing's a pussy!